Geometry Dash. It's a video game you may have heard of in one way or another. Maybe you played the free version on your iPad 10 years ago, or maybe you watch your favorite streamer play the same hard level for months. Whatever the case, this game has been around for over a decade and it only continues to grow in popularity. More and more people are picking it up in their free time, to the point that there's now almost 100,000 people playing it on Steam at any given moment. But what actually is Geometry Dash? Even if you've played a few levels or watched bits of it online, a lot of stuff in the community can seem completely foreign to people who don't fully understand the game. And it's reached a point where whenever I see a live streamer or really any new player pick it up, they're absolutely blasted with all this contradicting information about what they supposedly need to know. Which is why this video exists to set the record straight and answer all your burning questions about Geometry Dash. Like, where's the math? Why are people fighting demons? How did someone make this level? What did someone make this level? Why is every level the hardest one in the game? And why does nobody think it's cool when I say I can beat Clubstep? Whether you know nothing about this game or too much, strap the hell in, because I'm covering everything. So, Geometry Dash is a game that you can pick up on mobile or PC for $4 to $5. Some people shorten it to GD or maybe GMD, but definitely not Geodash. Don't call it Geodash. It's a one-button, rhythm-based platformer game where you move automatically and jump more or less in time with the music. That's not to be confused with a rhythm game where you're essentially performing the song itself. In Geometry Dash, the music just lines up nicely with the level design but isn't mandatory to listen to. It's like the difference between playing in a band and exercising while music plays. The game was famously inspired by a man from 1847 named Geometry Dash, who was imprisoned and forced to jump over spikes. He's the father of Geometry Dash, and if you ask anyone in the community, they will back me up on this. What makes GD so special is that it's primarily focused on user-generated content. Not only can anyone build and upload their own levels for the game with full creative freedom, but you're actively encouraged to play people's work to earn rewards, unlock cosmetics, and slowly work up this game's extremely elaborate progression. There's so many different ways to play the game and interact with the content provided by the community, and that's exactly why it's so popular. I don't think I've seen any other game go this deep in terms of what it provides for its community. But let's start from the very beginning. In Geometry Dash, you play as this 2D square called, of course, the cube. It jumps every time you click, and typically it lines up with some part of the background music. If you touch a spike or hit the side of a wall, you crash and have to restart the level from the beginning. Therefore, you need to learn and read the level up ahead to avoid whatever it throws at you. It starts with spikes, but soon you'll also be dealing with gravity changes, jump boosts, and the absolute incompetence of some level creators! As you reach different parts of the song, you'll encounter portals that transform your player and change how it functions. The ball flips gravity instead of jumping, the robot jumps as high as you hold, and there's even some flying modes like the ship and UFO. Each mode allows for different types of challenges and level design, and as nicely as they control, you're probably playing the game wrong if you aren't complaining about their physics. Fortunately, there is one game mode without physics called the Wave, and it's pretty popular because of how controlled it is. It goes up when you hold, down when you release, and some people can do this with it. That wasn't supposed to look impressive, by the way. The real players are doing this. Ultimately, Geometry Dash is a game of reading the level design. Mechanics like flying a ship or double jumping from an orb are super easy to wrap your head around, but can become extremely overwhelming once you pick up the pace and start chaining them together. Mastering this game means understanding exactly how the player interacts with everything so that you'll never feel out of control. Easy levels give you plenty of freedom with how you move around, but harder ones are more like a performance, with very little wiggle room. Most levels are roughly a minute to 90 seconds, measured by your percentage through them, so when you fail at something like 95% and go all the way back to the beginning, you start to understand why people call this a rage game. Some people handle failing like a champ and try again, others scream and smash their monitors, but most just take it out on the person who made the level. To me, Geometry Dash is all about progression. Since anybody can make a level, once you finish one, there's always going to be a harder one to try next. There's quite literally never a time you'll feel stuck because the game is too easy, and we've got some maniacs working at the top to make sure of that. Difficulty is represented through these silly little faces, which give a rough idea of how hard a level is. I mean, they don't do it well, but they do it. Take normal difficulty, for example, which is kind of misleading because I'd say a normal level is actually in the hard to harder range. No, I will not talk about the face. This last difficulty, Demon, represents every level that's reasonably difficult, and it's so broad that it had to be split into 5 subcategories, which is also misleading because their difficulty is exponential. The jump from an easy demon to a medium demon is several times smaller than the jump from an insane demon to an extreme demon. That's right, this game basically just reinvented the V-scale. People have gotten so good at Geometry Dash that Extreme Demon actually holds like 20 more subcategories inside of it. And here's all of them. If anybody asks, this is the actual scale that players agreeably use, and definitely not an image someone made as a joke. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's talk about where you, yes, you, are going to start. The official levels packaged with the game, like Stereo Madness and Back on Track. I know these names sound weird, but it's the name of the song, and they only get stranger. You'll get used to it, I promise. The early levels of the game are Geometry Dash in its simplest form, and they can take anywhere from one attempt to hundreds depending on if you're bad at 2D platformers. And each level introduces new elements that you'll start seeing pretty much everywhere. Like, level 2 introduces these pads that boost you upwards, and more importantly, that trust issues will keep you alive. Level 3 introduces orbs that let you jump again in midair. Level 4 adds portals that flip you upside down, and by level 7, you're constantly flipping gravity and even flying upside down as well. It looks intimidating, but you learn fast. And it just keeps going after that. Level 8 introduces the extremely popular portal that mirrors your screen. Level 9 teaches you about frame-perfect inputs. Level 10 teaches you about the color blue. Level 11 makes you accurate to my height, and so on. Before you know it, you're dealing with new art styles, speed changes, 2 players at once, moving objects, and Each level also has 3 secret coins to collect, kinda like Mario. They used to be placed in really creative spots, but then the developers stopped trying. Kinda like Mario. Collect enough of them, and you can try out the 3 official demon levels, which put together everything you've learned so far and introduce you to your new best friend, the Clubstep Monster. If you ever get bored, you can also head over to the tower to play some traditional platformer levels. It's a short but very creative campaign with a bangin' royalty-free soundtrack by Kevin MacLeod. Once you've had your fun with these official levels, you're probably going to want to check out the literal millions of custom ones made by the community. So click this button on the menu to head over to the creator layer where most of the actual game takes place. What's that? You're right, it is a lot of buttons. And you're also right, nobody calls it the creator layer. Everything starts here, over in the level editor. You can place whatever objects you want, whether it's blocks, spikes, portals, decorations, rattle dash, or even Snargaleblin. Then you can use these triggers to change colors, move stuff around, program cool effects, and if you really feel like it, develop entire indie video games. This is not a joke, I did a whole video about this. You can't import your own art, but there's enough objects to pick from for you to make pretty much anything you could dream of. Here's a studio quality animation, and here's the dog that I made. You laugh, but at least this one doesn't lag the game. As for music, you can use almost any song uploaded to the website Newgrounds, as well as some partnered artists, and all the hits from your favorite Roblox tycoons. Every other song technically isn't usable, but it's more of a 30-second inconvenience. The beauty of the editor is that there's endless ways to build a level, and the final product is always going to be uniquely yours. Whether it's a really difficult challenge, or a work of art, or just a creative way to represent that song you really like. After enough time in the editor, you won't be able to listen to music without imagining a Geometry Dash level for it in your head. And as cool as it may seem, you will never make it. Geometry Dash has a very supportive audience for pretty much every type of level, and with no way to monetize your work, everything is done entirely for the love of it. And sometimes for these hammers and wrenches. See, once you've proven that your level is beatable, which is called verifying it, you can publish it to the servers and pray that it doesn't get randomly deleted, unlisted, or lost among the hundreds of other levels uploaded every minute. If a level plays well, looks nice, and is long enough, a moderator can assign it a difficulty and forward it to the creator of the game to rate it. This cements it as a high-quality, officially endorsed level that you'll get rewards for completing. And it happens to around a dozen levels a day, so there's always new stuff to check out. A cooler glow around the difficulty face means that everyone agrees the level is super impressive and nobody will ever argue about it. It also means the creator gets more hammers and wrenches. Yeah, this is just a measure of how much cool stuff you've made. It's known as creator score. Beating a rated level gives you stars depending on how hard it was, which unlock new icons to use and show up on leaderboards. Levels that play themselves give you 1, entry-level demons give you 10, the hardest levels in the universe also give you 10, and Finger Dash gives you 12. Aside from stars, you can also earn moons from platformer levels, like the one seen in the tower. Building a good one requires a lot more game design knowledge, but it's hard to dislike the bad ones when they all feel like old Flash games. There's a couple of other collectibles that aren't worth getting into, but these are one of the main incentives for people to play Geometry Dash. Unlike most other games, you're directly rewarded for playing user-generated content, and you'll never run out of it. So how do you actually get good at Geometry Dash? Obviously, you can just play the game a lot, but there's some finer tools at your disposal. The most notable feature is Practice Mode, which lets you freely place checkpoints in a level. This lets you scout it out at your own pace and get really comfortable with harder sections. Practice is less about making it to the end of the level, and more about setting your future self up to do it in one try. It's a must for any reasonably hard level since it identifies the exact spots where you need to lock in and lets you repeat them over and over without having to replay the entire level from the beginning. You might also see some players go into the level editor and change their start position. This is just a more convenient and customizable way of practicing from a certain point. But it goes even deeper than that, because you can also practice by looking at the game's hitboxes to see exactly how close you can get to certain obstacles. In general, they're pretty forgiving. You can get this close to a spike before it kills you, and even clip inside solid blocks as long as the center part stays safe. These things are subtle, but make the game feel so much nicer to play. And people hate that for some reason. It really makes you wonder if levels would be possible with hitboxes that are more faithful to their visual appearance. Other methods of practice include slowing the game down a little or removing the ability to fail entirely, sometimes with a mod that tells you how legitimate your run was. Practice aside, it's also good to know how to click fast and consistently to maximize your control in flying game modes like the ship and wave. And knowing how the game buffers your inputs can be incredibly helpful when working with jump orbs, and preventing it from being used against you! Furthermore, in some cases, setting yourself apart with a good icon set can help a lot. That's your choice of icons, colors, vehicles, trails, and more. There's practically infinite combinations, and many players can be identified from their cube alone. Most icons are unlocked through achievements, but people rarely use them to show off, unless it's like these ones. You can also earn icons from this massive page of chests, as well as the shop, the other shop, the other shop, the other shop, and the other shop, all of which are accessed from the same screen. And if that doesn't interest you, there's also dozens that you can just redeem for free the second you open the game. It's kinda like Mystery Gift if it was purple and encouraged you to say 6-7. Finally, if you're still looking to improve, there's equipment. Like all fun hobbies, if you want to be a real Geometry Dasher, you gotta gear the hell up. First thing you'll want is a screen with a high refresh rate, like 120 Hz or so. It makes the game look less choppy and allows you to see more Geometry Dash per second. In the past, the game actually only registered inputs every time it drew a frame, which meant that some jumps could genuinely be impossible on lower frame rates because you weren't able to click between frames. Fortunately, you can do that now. There is really nothing more for me to say about this. Next, you need a comfortable input method that won't destroy your hand. If you're playing on a controller, stop. And if you're still playing on mobile, there's no easy way to tell you this. I personally use the Logitech G502 mouse, which is a popular choice for most video games, but nowadays you'll see a lot more Geometry Dash players using this doohickey called a Seiyuu device. I'm not the best guy to ask about them, I just know it's 3 buttons that go clicky clicky exactly how you want them to. Lastly, you have to load yourself up with so many mods and texture packs to the point that the game is completely unrecognizable. A lot of this is cosmetic, but modders have made some genuinely incredible stuff like online multiplayer, massive editor improvements, and hack clients that look straight out of the oldest Anarchy server in Minecraft. Me personally, I added a bumpscosity slider. Most mods are handled through the mod loader called Geode, and a lot of people say Geometry Dash is unplayable without it, which is a shame because every time the game updates, we lose mod support for like a week because the developer hates us all. Anyways, those are all my equipment recommendations. Here's a few extra ones if you're still looking for things. Once you're all set, there's kind of 2 directions you can go with custom levels. Sorry, that's the wrong image. There we go. Option 1 is playing everything, which we call star grinding because it focuses on earning stars. These levels span all difficulties and don't provide much of a challenge, but do let you oversee all the awesome art that the community is making on a daily basis. Unless you ignore that and just see these levels as obstacles blocking you from earning more stars. I don't care what your leaderboard rank is, don't be that person. Option 2 is ignoring your stats and challenging yourself to be increasingly harder levels. This means working up from insanes to easy demons to mediums to hards to harder hards. There are so many guides and tools made by the community to help you with your progression and point you towards levels that you should try next. Maybe you're good at slow and technical demons but can't do one that's more than 3 minutes for the life of you. In that case, there's a whole catalog of Jonathan GD levels to traumatize yourself with. Of course, if your life is too busy for gradual progression, you can also do what's called jumping. Jumping is for when you think you're better than everyone else and really want to tell people that you're better than everyone else. And all it takes is beating a demon that's a huge jump in difficulty from your previous hardest without beating anything in between. It can be a great experience if done right, but sort of burn you out if not. And hey, if you really want, you can call anything a jump. Like I've seen people say they jump from Club Step to the Lightning Road. In any case, once you've worked your way up to the hardest levels in the game, you'll officially be in the territory of the Demon List. It's the official-unofficial ranking of the 150 hardest rated levels in the game, brought to you by players like you. And it's constantly updating as people continue to improve at the game. The hardest and most iconic level from a decade ago, Bloodbath, isn't even in the top 750 anymore, and people I meet will just offhandedly mention that they've beaten it. Anyway, if you can prove that you've made progress on something on this list, you'll earn points. And the more points you have, the more relevant you become. And the more relevant you become, the more disappointed everyone is when it's discovered that you were cheating this entire time. So, let's reflect a little. Hopefully now you know what Geometry Dash is, how to play it, and what players typically do. But there's one more important thing that's both the best and worst aspect of the game. The community! Geometry Dash may be single player, but it's a very social game since everything is made by players and there's so much to talk about. You'll find a massive community for this game on pretty much every corner of the internet, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Discord, Reddit, Scratch, Steam, surprisingly not AO3, and of course, whatever the daily level is at the moment. In fact, I mentioned that online multiplayer mod earlier. It typically has over 10,000 people connected at any time, which looks a little something like this. The Geometry Dash community has people of all ages from all across the world speaking many different languages, but the majority is probably English-speaking teenagers since the game isn't localized in any languages, and everyone older is too employed to be an extreme demon. Something more unique to Geometry Dash is that other players are very easy to spot in the wild. If you're online, all you have to do is look for someone with GD in their username, and then the off chance that you're offline, just look for the dork. On a more serious note, the community consists of every type of player you could possibly imagine, whether that's level creators, star grinders, extreme demon verifiers, the 1% that actually plays platformer levels, streamers, YouTubers, and even ones you don't typically think of, like music producers and artists. I'd be here all day if I tried to list them off myself, so instead I let them do it for me.
How's it going, guys? My name is Eric Van Wilderman, and I'm 39 years old. In Geometry Dash age, that's basically like I'm 900. Even though I'm a geezer, I can still play levels like this. Ah! If I can do it, you can do it too.
Hi, my name is Vortrox, and although I'm not a top player, I like to pretend I am. I do things like nerfing Bloodbath, beating Bloodbath, and even revisiting Bloodbath. I think I fall under the jack of all trades, master of none category of Geometry Dash player, but at least I'm having fun.
I am Doggy, the other good player that isn't Zoink. I'm mostly known for verifying the hardest level in the entire game, called Grief. Well, actually I haven't verified it yet as of this recording. I have 97% after 2 years and 400,000 attempts. Always remember that fails like that are a part of the process. Just think of it as a sign that you're ready to beat it any day. Oh, and if you're wondering what makes the level so difficult, it's actually not really that hard. RobTop just decided to renew me for a few more seasons to keep his game relevant.
Hey guys, I'm King Chopdala. I've gone through a lot of GD phases. I've beaten the game with my voice, I've beaten the game through a dance pad, with my piano, and just beaten hard levels like Nelv, guys. You know, I've done it all. And the one thing I would say to all of you beautiful dashers out there is just play the game how you want to play it. Just because Doggy beat this or your friend Jerry beat that doesn't mean you have to beat it. Play whatever you want, practice however you want. There's no magic. You just gotta play the game, guys. Just have fun.
Miku, I love you so much, Miku. Ah! But of course, there is one extremely important figure in the Geometry Dash community that I'm forgetting. It's not Jinxie. Rather, it's the mastermind behind all of this. See, Geometry Dash is developed by a Swedish company called RobTop Games, which consists of one person named Robert Topala, or Rob if you want to be hip. And every feature in the game was done by him alone. The 22 official levels were built by him, the 50,000 star-rated levels were all reviewed by him, and the ratings, or lack thereof, are mostly his own opinion. The daily and weekly levels are chosen by him. He even periodically releases new packs of community levels called gauntlets. So is he active in the Geometry Dash community? Not in the slightest! Not only does he rarely communicate with the community, but updates for Geometry Dash take months, if not years. The most infamous wait was 6 years for update 2.2, with no bug fixes in between despite them being urgently needed. And a lot of the features in that update got delayed until 2.21, which still hasn't released over 2 years later. But we did get 2.201, 2.202, 2.203, and so on. These patches mostly just added popular mods to the base game without any sort of credit, and added a few things that were very clearly random side projects. It's a textbook example of what happens when you promise massive features that you aren't actually motivated to add and don't give yourself a deadline. And yet, I still think RobTop's a pretty cool dude. He's also ripped as hell. See, the thing about Rob is that despite his flaws and inexperience in the industry, he still cares immensely for Geometry Dash. He's working his butt off to keep the game alive and well, even if it goes unnoticed. So a lot of people, including me, have a very deep respect for him. Which is exactly why we're allowed to hate him so much. When I say that man pisses me off, it comes right from the heart. But he doesn't do everything alone. He's also got a team of moderators who help find high quality levels and delete some of the horrible stuff people post. It's an entirely voluntary role taken on by players who care a lot about the game, and the process of becoming one is also very professional. You just wake up one day and discover you're a moderator with no contact beforehand. So with that, you should be mostly caught up on what Geometry Dash is about. But before we wrap up, I want to quickly run through the language we speak. Like any game, we've got our own weird terminology, and the sooner you know it, the better. If a level is a layout, it means it's all gameplay and no decoration. It's usually the first step towards making a full level, but can also be a deliberate choice if you're making a challenge or joke level or just wanted to get something down. It can also be used passive-aggressively if you think someone's level is ugly. The opposite of that is rate-worthy, which means the level looks good enough for a star rating, but now you have to pray that it gets noticed. If a level is epic, it gets this fire and means it's really cool. If it's legendary, that means it's even cooler. And if it's mythic, stay off Twitter. If you work on a level with a friend, it's a collab, and once 5 or 6 people get involved, it's a mega collab. Only one person can upload the level, and everyone else just gets reduced to and more. If a level is 1.0, it means it was made with only the objects and tools from the first version of the game, like the original levels. It's less of a style choice and more of an excuse to not decorate. If a level is 1.9, it means it was built in the style of the last version before the editor became super overcomplicated and let you make pretty much anything. Update 1.9 had pretty tight constraints, but there were always charming ways to work around them. Some people still build on this version, so in that sense, it's like the Geometry Dash equivalent of Minecraft 1.8. This update also gave us a popular level called 9 Circles, which did this cool effect in its wave part. This somehow inspired people to make their own 9 Circles levels by copying not just the style, but pretty much everything, really. If a level is silent, it means it's really hard. If it's a travel, it's really long. If it's auto, it's amazing Geometry Dash level which plays itself and own music. If it's a flow level, that can mean literally anything. And if it's a nong, it means the song isn't actually allowed for use and has to be downloaded from a dark alley. If a level offers LDM, it stands for low detail mode, which removes some visuals to help cut down on lag. And if it offers no shake, no shaders, or no camera effects, always say yes because that creator shouldn't be trusted with them in the first place. If a level has jump indicators, they're little arrows telling you exactly where to click. Most people agree that this is bad, but it also means less brain power stands between them and their 6 stars. If a creator hit a secret path to verify their own level, it's not a dev exit, it's a secret way. And if you find any path not intended by the creator, it's a swag route and you should be extremely annoying about it. If you fluke a level, it means you beat it surprisingly quickly and played it really well. If you choke a level, it means the level played you really well. Finally, if a level is TOE, KATA, AA, BB, DD, FF, SS, NC, ICDX, TS, TS2, FD, F:(D), ABP, SW, or AOD, those are all just abbreviations for popular levels. But if it's B, that one's actually just called B. Well, that's about everything I could possibly tell you about Geometry Dash. If I wanted to go on, I'd be here for hours, so really, the best way to learn is to just play the game and engage with the community. Don't worry about sucking at easy levels, because it's a required step to improve. And likewise, even if you're bad at the level editor, you're still learning as long as you make an effort. This community may fight over some dumb things, but we're united by even more of them, like these. If you genuinely didn't know anything about Geometry Dash, I hope this video helped you understand not just how it works, but also why so many people play it. And if you're familiar with the game, was that good enough? Was I supposed to talk about the Demon Guardian? I know I didn't really talk about the Demon Guardian, but it's fine because I didn't forget about him, RobTop did. So get out there, give Geometry Dash a try, and sit back as you accidentally change the course of your entire life. Like, what am I doing, man? This is my job. I have 1% on Bloodlust.